Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another live recipe from my kitchen. I am Chef Day. I am founder of the Vegan Chef School. And I think we're on day 80, maybe. You guys can tell me whether I'm right or wrong. Karen, thank you for joining us again. Colin, good morning, and she'll be cooking along. Ingrid, thank you for joining us. And thank you for being admin today. I have to admit, I did tell everybody your news the other day. I got so excited because Louisa has news and Ingrid has news and Katie has news. It's all very, very exciting. So I did have to share with everyone our very exciting news. Okay, Justine, thanks for joining us today. Khan. And Justine says yummy, yummy, yummy. Yes, it is. It's a really, really yummy one today. Colleen's I only have sprouted tofu. Had to toss my silken tofu. Oh, boo. Lara, thank you for joining us again. Justine, so it's definitely only 50 lives. You're so lying. You're so lying. You're such a bad liar, Justine. Okay, so oh, Katie, thank you for joining us again. I think that we're on about 80, something like that. So I worked it out today. Sue, hello, good morning. I worked out today that our 100th show will be the 2nd of July. The 2nd of July. So once we get to the 2nd of July, we're going to change things around a bit. And we will move to shows on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which is fairly easy for you guys to remember. We always want it to be as easy as possible for you guys to remember, because then we'll get you coming back more, quite frankly. And so yes, we will be having a reduced service from that point, and I'll be working hard on the Pro Chef course that is about to launch at the end of this month, which is very, very exciting. Making more professional vegan chefs around the world now, not just in London. We did just do London, but now we're doing it all around the world. It reminds me of that song. I used to love doing this song when I was at school. You know, he's got the whole world in his hand. Did you guys do that? Or was it just my school? Guys, people who are in the UK, you might know it. People who aren't, maybe you don't. But you know, you did the whole actions, the whole world in his hands. Anyway, enough of that. That's got nothing to do with vegan food whatsoever. And on to our recipe today. So it's an easy potato dauphinoise. We've got the ingredients list there for you guys. And let me just check we've got it on all of our screens. Yep, we've got it on all of our screens, so we should be good to go. It's a really, really easy recipe today. Really easy recipe. I called it a 2-step recipe because literally it's just 2 steps. Whack it in the oven. That's it. Pretty good, huh? Okay, so Khan is taking on the potato jokes. Good. I think we can get quite a lot of mileage out of potato. If you think of like the words, there's quite a lot of, you know, leverage that you've got there. So that's good. Sue said Paul will know. Yes, Paul will know which day we're on. I'm sorry, I've completely lost track. Sometimes I don't even know what day it is. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that. I know I'm not alone in that. Jenny says, yes, day off, so can watch live. That's great. I think it probably works for most people, which is why it's really good if we pass these decisions over to you guys, because sometimes we just don't know. We just don't know what is best for you and what you need and want. So we will keep bothering you and asking you what you think and what you want. So I hope you don't mind. So those polls are in our community hub at the moment. They're in our group. So you're giving you the options of what days and also what times. Okay, so Khan says, but Chef, you have to try and answer them. Khan, I'm kind of cooking here. So, you know, I love the jokes. I absolutely love the jokes. Don't stop the jokes. Don't stop the jokes. But I do have to cook at the same time. So give me a break. I try. But you know, sometimes what happens is I look at the comments here, and I'm sure Katie and Nikki have done exactly the same thing. And quite often, like, we don't have time to read what you say in our head before we start reading it out. So we can never, this is probably dangerous me telling you this, we can never double check that what you've said is an actual food question. So sometimes like we'll read it out and we'll be like, is that a food question or is that a joke? Because sometimes that it can be really easy to confuse them, especially when you've got your mind on cooking and presenting and reading questions at the same time. So don't trip me up with that, okay? And also don't put anything rude in there because I will just read it. I will just read it, and then that won't be good. That won't be good. Okay, so Justine says that she can cook along every Sunday. That's good, and Colleen can as well. So I guess the idea with the reduced service is that we can make them into the show that I always wanted to be on the TV, which is a proper full-on cook-along, where we release the ingredients well beforehand. We can plan it in a lot more because we're just doing less, really. So it will be much easier for us to do that type of thing. So we'll be able to release the ingredients maybe like a week in advance, and that will give you guys enough time to see, you know, which ones are the ones that you actually really want to cook along with, and get more people onto the cook-alongs, and also make the cook-alongs easier to find, easier to understand for you guys, like what ingredients you need, what equipment you need, how you need to prep your kitchen, if you need to put your oven on, blah 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 blah, you know, all of that. So I feel like we can do less, but the quality will be much better, and eventually we'll get our 100 people cooking along to a show, which is my dream. That is like my absolute dream. I mean, of course, my absolute dream is like the whole world going vegan, but apart from that, that's my dream. 100 people cooking along to our show. So one day. Okay, right, onto our recipe. Best cook something, huh? So Sarah says, good morning, my phone is back. So she should have better internet today. That's really, really great. That's really great. And I mean, bless you for like struggling along, doing cook-alongs whilst you've had that internet problem. So thank you for that. And also thank you to everyone for being so lovely to Katie yesterday with all the problems that she had. Paul is here. So Paul can now tell us, what number show are we on today? I don't know. Zora said that she had a beautiful acai bowl, so it's full of energy now. So actually, that's one thing to point out to you guys. If you didn't know how to say that word, if you see that word, it can be quite often like in like smoothie recipes that you see on the internet. ACAI, acai. As far as I know, did I get it wrong? Oh my god, that would be so shameful if I got it wrong. As far as I know, acai. Okay, so Paul says, around the world in Phileas Fogg in the book and associated films, Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne was well known for his punctuality. Phileas Fogg's punctuality was well known. He never arrived too soon or too late, just like Chef Day and guest presenters. Ah, this is the 80th! 80 days! 80 days! Sorry, I'm very excited. Very excited. Okay, Karen said that he loved the fritters yesterday and his parents loved them. That's awesome. That's really, really good stuff. That is exactly what we want. Sarah said that she said acai differently. Okay, how do you say it then? How do you say it? Am I saying it wrong? I don't know. We'll have to find out afterwards, okay? Right, okay. So, welcome to our 80th show. 80 dishes around the world with you guys from all around the world. See, those hand gestures again. I've got to stop. Right, and now let's get on to our dish. So this is what we'll be making today. So this is our really easy potato dauphinoise. You can use this recipe and put other veggies in it as well. So cabbage works very, very well in here. Leek also, but it's better if you saute the leek first because we want to make sure that it isn't raw. Okay, so and these are our ingredients for today. So here we have 1 block of silken tofu. And sorry, Colleen actually asked me before the show, how many grams is that? Because it can differ, of course, which I'm sorry I should have said. This is 290 grams, so it's 300 grams, and then without the water, because it's have a little bit of water in it, it's 290 grams. And this is, for anybody living in the UK, this is Clear Spring, and I really, really like their silken tofu. This is about as close as you get to freshly made tofu, silken tofu in Asia. So I used to go to Petaling Street Market in Kuala Lumpur and get freshly made tofu that tasted very, very similar to this, and it would be warm, and then you would have some brown sugar syrup on it, and it was absolutely divine. absolutely divine. So that's the tofu that we're going to be using today. And then we have 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast here. You can add more if you would like to. 1 teaspoon of stock powder, 1 sprig of rosemary. Rosemary obviously goes really, really well with the potatoes, but any of these woody herbs would do really, really well. So sage, thyme, anything like that. And then we have 125 mils of water here, 1 to 2 garlic cloves, not garlic cloves, garlic cloves. 1 to 2, but you know, really that depends on how much garlic you like in your food. And now we have also a few potatoes here. So with this, it is better if you use smaller potatoes, just because layering them, you can get like more layers in our dish. And we have some extra virgin olive oil here to pop on the top, and that will brown it. So if you guys don't want to use any oil in this, you don't have to use this, but just beware that it won't brown as well on the top. That's the only thing. And I do have as an optional extra, because this is very nice to put on the top, is some black pepper. The flavour goes really well with the dish as well. And we also have some salt here. So the stock powder that you use, it may well have salt in it, but sorry, I've just completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, the stock powder that you have might have some salt in it, so that's why it isn't in the recipe. So you add salt to taste, and I'll show you when to add that. Okay, so Colleen says approximate weight of potatoes. Okay, so with a recipe like this, it isn't necessarily down to the weight of them, but rather the mass of them, because we're going to be filling either a bowl like this is an oven dish like this, or you can have like a wider one like this. We only want about 3 layers of potatoes. You don't want any deeper than 3 layers of potatoes, because otherwise it won't cook through properly. So for this amount, I'm going to use this nice wide dish. I can just quickly weigh the potatoes though as well, but as you see, I've actually got 5 out, because I just thought, you know, just in case I need them, then I've got a bit more than I need. But I would say around maybe like that, so around 300 grams. Around 300 grams, but it doesn't have to be exact. As I said, it's more about mass rather than weight. And surprise, surprise, nobody has mentioned the rainbow yet. What's going on? What's going on? Why is nobody, a certain person, mentioned the rainbow today? Why? I think they're too busy focusing on the recipe. To be fair. Doug, thank you for joining us. You will have to excuse me while I have some milk, because I've got a bit of a croaky throat today, a bit of a sore throat. So I need a bit of soy milk just to kind of like make it a bit. So Colleen says that she's busy prepping. Too busy prepping, and she doesn't have time to do some rainbow spotting, which means it's open to you guys. Come on. What is at the end of my rainbow today? Okay, right. Now, we can start by cutting our potatoes. We do want to slice them as finely as we can. So I am going to use a mandolin. Now, these scare people quite a lot, but you just need to be really, really careful with them, basically. So you can cut your potatoes with a knife if you want to. Absolutely fine. Sarah says, did you say 300 grams? I seem to have less of the same red potatoes and weight over 500 grams. So, yeah, around 300 grams is fine. And it can be like a mixture of different potatoes, if that's what you're saying. Jenny got it right. It's my shopping list. So this is it's at the end of my rainbow today. So this was my shopping list. There we go. Rice cakes, Mesa Sunrise, which is an amazing cereal, Gingerella, ginger biscuits, we like ginger in this house, coffee, and naked bars. There we go. It's my shopping list. Let's not get rid of that one today. Okay. It is not the toppings for a lasagna, the ingredients of a lasagna, or a Picky Box pizza. No. No, it is not. Okay, so I'm going to start by slicing our potatoes, and I'm going to hold one up so that you can see how, there you are. There you go, you can see how thin that is. Okay, so we do want it as thin as possible because we want it to cook fully. We don't want it to be raw, and if it's too thick, it won't cook properly. There we go. Sarah says, I meant my potatoes look like yours exactly and seem the same size, but my weight is way above 500. Could you double check the weight? So the weight was right, but as I said, it's going to be more about the mass and what will cover this. And that's why I don't get kind of like too hung up on the weight being exact. And I've got these to one side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice up 4 of these, keep this to one side, and then if I need it, I've got extra potato there that I can pop in. Okay, so making sure that my fingers are well out of the way. I'll mandolin these, and I am just letting go of that at the end. Okay, and that is one of the primary ways you can be safe with a mandolin, is letting this end bit go. You can pop it into a stock or a soup or something if you want to. That's no problem, but it's better to not try and mandolin right until the very end. There we go. I especially don't want any mishaps live on Facebook, because that would be really bad. That would be really bad if you guys like have to like send in an ambulance for me because there's blood all over the mandolin. No, we don't want that happening today. Okay. So as you can see, and that's why I wanted you guys to come to this angle instead, is when I am mandolinating, I'm making sure that my fingers are out of the way and I've got a flat palm. When it gets to a certain bit, when you're right at the beginning, it doesn't really matter, because if you're like that and you've got loads of potato there, or if you're doing it with like a courgette or something like that, you can have your hand like this, that's fine. It's just when it gets close. There we go. So when the blade does start to go, and after like 6-7 years, this blade is like finally starting to go, it's better to take a bit of a run up to the blade. So rather than coming down here and trying to force it through, which can be a bit difficult, you come right to the top here, take a run up. There we go, and it's a bit easier. Okay, so let's pop this to one side. As I said, I still have this potato here if I need it, but we might be okay with what we've got. Okay, so James, thank you for joining us again. Lisa, this is a great dish that I know my non-vegan friends and family will eat. Yes, it's a really good one for all of those non-vegans. And Khan said, I would like to thank everyone for being there after my anxiety attack the other day. Thank you. No problem at all. No problem at all. We are always there. We are always there. And probably as well, there will always be someone, if you want to pop up a message in the community hub, there will always be someone who will get back to you, because everyone's like really chatty in there and really supportive. It's really lovely. Justine said, I watched this show yesterday and showed the camera her mix and it fell on the floor. Oops. Okay, so now we have our potatoes here. Make sure they don't all fall on the floor. And now we can make our cream. So this is step 1. It's just slicing the potatoes. That's like it. And then we just need to blend our cream. So let's bring you guys to the overhead shot so that you can see a bit clearer. Okay, so we just need to pop our tofu into our jug. So it's got a little bit of water with it, but that's absolutely fine. Doesn't matter. And then we can pop in all of our other ingredients. So, David, thank you for joining us. Sarah said, I will add leek too. So could you let me know as we go when to add it? So sorry, just to say, I've just added the nutritional yeast there. I'm going to add the stock. I'll add the garlic cloves. And so just to get back to Sarah about what she said. So with leek, what it's best to do in my experience is to finely chop it and saute it first and then put it in. So I have made a dish that's similar. And when I first made it, I didn't saute the leeks, and they didn't cook out as much. They didn't as much as I wanted them to. So they still had a bit of a raw flavour. So it can be better to cook the leeks first and then put them into this dish. So I would advise that you do that, because we're only going to pop this in the oven for half an hour. And they may well need longer than that to cook. So okay, so Nora, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Okay, let's pop back to this view, and then we will add our rosemary. So you guys can use whichever kind of woody herbs that you want to use. And just to say as well, you know, if you don't want to use, or if you haven't got a hand blender, you don't need to use one. So what you could do is you could just mush all of this up and then finely chop whatever herbs you're putting in, and it will be like slightly different texture, but not that much. So, you know, don't worry about it too much. If you don't want to use a hand blender, or you haven't got one, then you can just mush up the tofu like we did with those tarts that we made. If you guys remember those, I know a few of you actually made them, the spring onion and pea tarts that we made, that were absolutely delicious. So, you know, you just use a fork to mush up that silken tofu. So now we add our water as well, and now we can blend it. Okay, so the force of the blender is really making me shift my hand right down. So I'm going to try and keep it up as much as possible, because if the blender is right at the very bottom, then it's not churning it around as much, and therefore that rosemary isn't going to get chopped up finely. And just to respond to you, Sarah, she says, is the garlic in the jug too? Yes. Yes, it is. So in the jug we've got the silken tofu, the nutritional yeast, the stock powder, water, garlic, rosemary. Yep, that's everything. Okay, so the thing that I'm looking out for, guys, is the rosemary, the flecks of rosemary. So once I can see that the flecks of rosemary are small enough, then I can stop. There we go. Okay, so we can just take our stick blender out. Okay, and now we have our cream. So now you want to grab your oven dish, so whichever oven dish that you are using, and we can start layering everything on. Sorry, I just had to have a sip of milk there. So first of all, we can add a little bit of cream to the bottom. And whenever we're making a bake like this, we will do this. Add some cream or sauce or whatever it is that we're using to the bottom of the dish. And it's so that our potatoes don't stick to the bottom. So we've just got a thin layer there. And now we can start layering our potatoes. So we don't want them to be completely overlapped. So we don't want them to be like this. If they are like that, they won't cook through properly. So we do want them to be just layered like that. So just overlapped. Overlapped. There we go. And with this, like, it doesn't have to be neat at all. It's one of those dishes, like, it can be quite difficult to make it neat, so I wouldn't really worry about it too much. Okay, and as you can see, you know, what I was talking about with the amount of potatoes, it's more important the volume that you actually manage to produce. So, you know, and making sure that they get this thin. They really do need to be about that thin, otherwise you will end up with raw potato. It won't be cooked through. There we go. Okay, so once we've got one layer, we can add a bit of salt if you need it. But do check out how salty your mixture, your cream is tasting at the moment, because some stock powder does have quite a lot of salt in it already. Okay, and we need some more of the cream, of course. And as I said, we're going to do about 3 layers, no more than 3 layers of potato. And if you guys want as well, you could try this with tarragon. Tarragon would be lovely. Tarragon's one of those really underused herbs, I think. So now we'll just pop these another layer on. Khan says, any Anya fans here? And I think if you're like me, you're wondering who's Anya. So, and I think by definition of not knowing, that means that no one's a fan. What? Oh! Okay, right, I feel really stupid. I feel really stupid because you're talking about Anya potatoes, aren't you? I was like, Anya, is that like a modern day version of Enya? If you mean Anya potatoes, then I'm a big fan of Anya potatoes. There's a very good Delia Smith recipe for Anya potatoes, actually. If you guys want to Google it, it's very good. Very, very good. Okay. Sarah says, when would I add the sauteed leek? So you add it all now. So anything that's going to go into the mix, you can add it now with your potatoes. Sorry, Sue says leeks on top of the potato before next layer of cream. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So Khan says, Chef Day, you read my mind. Sort of. I mean, I was thinking that Anya was Anya, but there we go. Right, okay, so now we can add a bit more salt and then get onto our last layer. There we go, and more of our cream. And by now you can see, you know, how much you're going to have left. So maybe you can just be a bit more generous with it. With the first, you know, with the bottom layer and then the second layer of cream, we tend to be a bit more stingy with it because, you know, you're worried about having enough for the whole thing. But by now you know that there's enough left in there for this layer and, you know, a good top layer as well. But we do want to make sure that there is a good layer of this cream in between the potato slices. We don't want the potato slices kind of like coming together and therefore like not cooking properly. Sarah says, is the leek layered 2 or all in one layer on top of the potatoes? So really it depends like what you want to do. You know, you can mix it with the potatoes if you want. You can have it as it and oh, sorry, I think I see what you mean now. So I would do the potatoes, leeks, sauce. Potatoes, leeks, sauce. Potatoes, leeks, sauce. Rather than potatoes, sauce, leeks, sauce, potatoes, sauce, etc., etc. You get my drift. There we go. So I am going to need that last potato because we are running out now. Let's just use all of these little bits up. Good morning, Gloria, or good afternoon, I should say. Welcome, welcome. Right, there we go. go. And so I'll just grab my potato from the sidelines. There we go. Oop. Now we can just finish this off. There we go. And so guys, you do need to set your oven to 200 degrees Celsius, which is 390 degrees Fahrenheit, which is gas mark 6. So just a little bit more. Gloria says just sorry today. That's okay. That's okay. There we go. Oh, sorry, David. I didn't see your question there. Can we add peas too? Yes, I think that would be a really, really good addition. I think you just need to factor in it might be a little bit more like not flat, not too flat basically, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, so that's our final layer of potato. So we'll add another scattering of salt, and you, by the way, can use any potatoes that you want to use with this. It's absolutely not a problem. And our final layer of cream on top. I do actually really enjoy doing these more kind of French style recipes, because in French cuisine there is so much butter and milk used that I think it's kind of largely left untouched by you know, vegan bloggers and vegan chefs. There's like one or two definitely out there, but you don't see a huge amount of like the French classics that have been veganized. There we go. So just add the remaining cream. And see, we can just tap it just to get any air holes out and just to make it really nice and flat. Sorry, Colleen said this is the perfect recipe for me today. I went to the farmer's market and bought potatoes and a gorgeous bunch of fresh rosemary. That's lovely. That's lovely. And Gloria asked a really good question actually. How many will this serve? Well, that kind of depends, because you know, this is something that I think would be part of you know, a Sunday dinner really. So, you know, if you've got lots of multiple parts going on, I would say that this would serve at least 4 people. At least 4 people. If you think of like having a quarter of that, that would be ample for someone. So I think that this would feed at least 4. So yeah, it is quite generous. And then we're just going to take a little bit of our oil and we're going to pop some of that on the top. I'm going to try and do it really, as carefully as I can, because I don't want to pour like masses of oil on it. We just want a little bit of oil on the top, and that will help it to brown. And so, you know, helping it to brown means that we've got a good Maillard reaction going on, which means that our eyes think that it's going to be yummy. So I just pop this. Oh, you can see that very, very well. That's good. So we've just got the oil on there in drizzles, and I'm just using a fork to lightly spread it around, not mixing it in. We don't want it to be fully mixed in with the cream. We just don't want big drips of it. It's very, very hard to pour it out the bottle and not have big drips of it. So you do need a bit of help with a fork. Okay, there we go. Oh, and then we've got our black pepper, which you can use or you don't have to use if you don't want to. It's perfectly nice on its own. I just thought that this was a good optional extra for you guys. Okay, so there we go. So now we can pop it into the oven. As I said, gas mark 6, 200 degrees Celsius, 390 degrees Fahrenheit for around 30 minutes. David says it can serve 4 people or 1 hungry man. Yes, exactly. Virginia, hello, welcome. Okay, so this is going to go into the oven for half an hour, and by the magic of TV, here is what I made earlier. Okay, so this is one that I made just before the show, and as you can see, there is a really lovely golden brown going on there, and that's what we want to see. So we want the tofu to have that different colour to it, to start going golden brown, and inside the potatoes are just cooked. They are literally just cooked, okay? So they're not like super soft, but they are cooked through, and that's what we want to see. Okay, we don't want to see any raw potato in there. So you do really need to make sure that your potato is very, very as fine as you can make it. And you can test. So just before you take it out of the oven, if you take a fork and you put it into the center. So always putting it into the center, because the center will be the last place to cook. So we pop our fork into the center. And then we can tell if the potato is cooked. If it isn't cooked after half an hour, but the top is browned very, very well, and you don't want it to be browned anymore, then you can pop a lid on it. So you can put another baking tray on top of it, or you can put some foil on it or something like that, but loosely. We don't want it to steam, but we don't want that top to get any more brown. So, you know, one of the things that very may well happen is that your slices of potato aren't as thin as we would like them to be. And so if they haven't cooked out after half an hour and it's really nice and brown on the top, we don't want it to go any more brown, you fear it might burn, then you can just, as I said, you know, pop a lid on it, pop some loose foil on it, and it will continue cooking that potato. So this is only 3 layers. The one I made over there, only 3 layers. Don't go above 3 layers. Yeah, so because otherwise it really, really won't cook out. And raw potato isn't very nice. Isn't very nice at all. Although I did used to know someone at school who would eat raw potato. But you know, he was a teenager. Teenagers aren't that clever. I was not. I was a terrible teenager. My poor parents, honestly. Justine says, I'm trying to get my hands on your book. Is it only available on Kindle? Yes, at the moment, but I'm actually going to re-release it. So there's another book that I would like to write for next January, which is a guide on how to become vegan over the course of a month, and do it in a much easier way where you have a much higher chance of staying vegan. So I am thinking about doing that, and then I would re-release my previous book at the same time, because that just needs like a bit of tightening up. And Gloria says, do you think a low simmer before using the potato would be worth doing? If you're worried that the potato isn't going to be thin enough, then yes. But you do need to be careful about that, because you want to make sure it is only for like a few minutes, and you don't want to break up that potato. And you also want to make sure that you get rid of all of that water. You really do need to make sure that you get rid of all of that water. Okay, so Colleen said that Khan has not given an answer to a joke. So is this comedy timing, or is there another blackout situation going on, Khan? Please let us know. Please let us know. Okay, so let me just see if there are any more questions. I think that I have answered all of your questions. Yay! Khan is here. Good. Khan says, because the sandwich was full of bologna. There you go. I don't even know what the question was, but there you go. Thank you for joining us today, guys. Tomorrow we will have a very sad show, a very, very, very sad show. So tomorrow is Nikki's last show. How rubbish is that? Really rubbish. Absolutely loved having Nikki present these her recipes. She may come back and do a guest spot with us, which would be absolutely amazing, because she's going to be in beautiful France as well, with the most amazing produce too. So she may drop in from time to time and just do an impromptu class for us, where we all get incredibly jealous of her beautiful surroundings and the amazing produce that she can cook with. But there we go. So lots of thank yous. Thank you for you joining me as well. Oh, Colleen says, okay, so Nikki is saffron. Did you decide on Katie's name, or is she going to be one of the herb girls? Because I feel like there may be like a bit of a kind of like separation between the Spice Girls and the Herb Girls, and I definitely want to be on Katie's team. And Nikki's team. So we all have to be together. Okay. Oh, okay. Paul says, apparently my job is to guess the questions to the jokes. That's hard. You guys are tough on me, huh? Sue says thank you. So sad that Nikki is leaving, but really happy for her. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Oh, so Katie is cumin. Cumin Katie. Good, good, good. Sage. Well, I'm a herb too. Maybe right. We both we have both a spice girl name and a herb girl name. Okay. Right. Denise says happy for Nikki. Yes, yes, we are very, very happy for Nikki. Paul says vegan wine and cheese, vegan cheese class from Provence in France. That is the plan. Definitely, definitely. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me again today. We are going to keep doing this every single day up until the 2nd of July. And then we will reduce what we do and we'll be with you at least 3 days a week. At least 3 days a week. And Elizabeth said, thank you for the great recipe. Thank you for joining us, Elizabeth. And Khan says, weren't we supposed to share photos of our fur babies? Well, sadly, we can't share photos in the comments on our lives, which is really annoying. I mean, they should really think of that because I think that would be a great function. So we will have to share them in the community hub. So I will start with that today because I have so many photos to share, so many photos, and then you guys can carry on and we can all share our fur babies with each other. That would be great. Oh, Paul says I put an 80th congratulatory post on a couple of Facebook groups. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's a really good reminder that if you guys like what we're doing and you think other people would, then please do share one of our lives in a vegan group. So I'm not allowed to because I get kicked out that way, but you guys can. You guys can. So it would be lovely if you can do that for us. That would really, really help. Please do let me know if you try this recipe. It is super, super, super easy. And really, really super tasty. So thank you for your time today. And as always, have a very good